대부분의 이치들을 이해하고자 노력하는 저희지만 세상에는 이해를 포기해야 하는 존재들도 있더군요.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Mechamac. This is Limbus Company. It's been a week, which means they've taken off the lock on the LCE and the Thoracalgia? Like I know. Smoking gun Ryoshu.
원망도 뉘우침도 소용이 없었으니 그저 무언가를 잡으려 애썼을 뿐.
I am consistently getting this one mixed up with King in Binds. No joke. It's probably the straitjacket, but the moment I saw it I thought, wait, we're getting this one again? That was last season's EGO. No, it's not. And of course we have the LCE Faust.
배치의 전투 위협도 다소 높음. 하지만 특정 상황에서 자멸하는 특성을 반영하여 홍염나방 최종 판정 바브 5.
War 5, huh? Okay. So then, let's have a look at what cool new stuff we have. Thoracalgia. Gain highest resonance poise. At 15 plus poise, gain final power plus highest resonance instead. Okay, so once she hits 15 poise, it turns into final power, which is important for these multi-coin EGO. Gain highest resonance divided by 2 poise count. At 5 plus poise count, gain coin power plus highest resonance. This is ominously reminiscent of This is ominously reminiscent of how badly they've been handling Rupture. I'm not sure I like that. On target kill, gain deep breath. On crit at these numbers, consume poise potency on self divided by 5 to deal poise potency consumed times 4% more damage. I appreciate that it also checks the poise count because poise count maintenance can get a bit annoying. Corrosion. Prioritize target with the least HP, prioritizes allies. If allies one of this skill's targets deal extra damage. People are saying that this is the only good way to use the LCE Seng, which is kinda mean, but what do I expect? So, Thread Spin adds the Breath passive. Next turn, after using this EGO skill, gain Nebulizer Beta, once per turn. If this skill defeated enemies, gain additional Nebulizer Beta. If this skill defeats allies, gain targets defeated times 2 additional Nebulizer Beta. This value stacks over this encounter's duration. This effect persists through the encounter. It makes me think that this is a sort of a future-proofing if we ever get some sort of Ryoshu that can retreat, like the Deviants Association or Full Stop Heathcliff. When activating Prior to Absolute Resonance, gain 3 poise and 3 poise count on self in stacked number of allies. Prioritize allies that gain or use poise count, and then among them prioritize allies with the least poise potency. So at max stacks, it's going to be 6 people, herself and 5 others. Which means that if you ever backtrack to 7 Sinner combat, then it won't be a full party boost, but I don't feel like there's much point in backtracking to that point anyway. Less than 15 poise consume 10% HP. cannot be staggered or defeated due to this effect. If target is defeated, gain 2 deep breath. Allies that are made to substituted into this encounter due to her killing an ally, they gain poison count. Also gain 4 deep breath. Actually, let's do some number counting. At 15 poise, gain up to maximum of 4 final power. So that gives us a base of 10. Still pretty bad for an ego. And a maximum of 2 coin power. So that's 7. So she can roll a 24 at cap. It's not enough to really make up for... Honestly, she has 2 HE ego at the moment that can roll around 38. That's nice, but it also, I feel like I'd rather use those than this, unless I absolutely need poise. But maybe it gets better. Gain a maximum of 6. It doesn't change her coin power boosts though. Gain 2 deep breath on target kill 4 times per turn. No change to her attack weight, gain 1 poise for every target ally targeted by this skill. Rather mean. Allies that participate due to defeated allies gain this. Recover half of SP used by this skill. Okay, so this raises her base power and increases her coin count power. So let's do the numbers. This would give her a 14 base. And then adding 3 coin power. Hang on, I need to do this. 14 and then 8 by 2. It would roll a 30, which still isn't the fanciest, but the fact that it's a 2 coin attack across multiple targets is nice, I guess. Prioritize targets with the least HP. Prioritize allies. Raise the base power to 24. Painful. Recover SP used by this skill and regain 1 of each ego resource consumed. So in the end, it would just be a pride attack. I guess it makes up for using it overclocked, but if your overclocked version is killing people, then you probably used it at bad SP values and you might end up corroding next turn. It definitely has uses, but I don't think it's for me. However, what we do have is this nonsense. Ignition. At 10 to burn, deal 10% more damage, gain 7 burn and 1 burn count. I wonder if that applies, if the burn applies before they add the burn count. Because it might mean that it's maintaining the burn, but it might also mean that you only have 7 burn this turn. You'd have to have burn on you already in order to take advantage of the burn count. So anyway, inflict 1 burn, gain 2 burn. Inflict 1 burn, gain 2 burn. Lose 5 burn once per turn. Lose 5 burn once per turn. So she can lose up to 10 burn if it's getting too hot to handle. Here we go. Here's the burn count. At 10 burn, deal 10% more damage and gain 4 burn count. I feel like that would probably maintain itself across the fight. So yes, she will eventually cook herself to death. Unless you really spam that evade. Inflict 1 burn, inflict 1 burn. Unbreakable coin. On hit without cracking, inflict 2 burn. She has absolutely no count across her entire kit. Okay, we uptie her, she goes from 3 to 5 to 3 to 6. On use, at 10, burn on self plus burn on target, coin power plus 1. So she'll be getting extra damage out there. Hang on. So at the moment she rolls a 10 at base. Add the coin power, it becomes 12. Or rather, 12 max. At 10 plus burn, inflict additional burn. The interesting thing about separate burn inflictions is that for the Ardor Blossom Moth's Ego Gift, that actually means that it triggers the extra burn application multiple times. So even a little bit of burn count on the opponent can absolutely wreck their face. Ego, actually wait. I didn't check whether she has fireproof in advance. Okay, actually I haven't uptied her yet. She cannot die due to burn damage or be staggered from it. I get the feeling it'll be like bleed though, which means that enemies with unbreakable coins will ruin her. Blunt resistant and pierce weak is interesting because pierce is what Ardor Blossom Moth resists the most. Anyway, back to this. We gain the coin power boost. On use, deal 10% more damage for every burn on self to a maximum of 20%. Gain 4 burn count at 4 plus burn on self plus burn on target. Coin power plus 1. It's not burn and burn count, it's just burn, so she won't automatically have this plus 1. But it will be... So at the moment it rolls 14, add a plus 1, and that's 17. So not bad for a skill 2. On hit without cracking, inflict 3 burn. And add her combat passive. At 80% plus missing HP, and at less than 30 burn, gain up to 30 burn once an encounter. Gain offense level up for every 6 burn on self. Ooh. So... 5 is enough to gain 1 clash power at least. Sometimes 2. So that's actually pretty nice. On death, activate the following. Inflict 2 burn on all enemies. Inflict burn on self between all enemies. Gain 2 ego resources for 2 least owned ego resources. I feel like they should have added this part on her Uptie 3, but whatever. If this unit dies to her skill, enhance the effect. Inflict 3 burn on all enemies, and burn on self between all enemies, maximum of 5 per enemy. Gain 2 ego resources for 2 least owned ego resources. I'm trying to figure out how many enemies could we consider to be the max fielded. I think 30 burn on self is the closest you can get. Anyhow, gain 2 ego resources for the least owned ego resource, and if we had 30 burn, apply 3 offense level to an ally that gets substituted in. Okay, so this raises her speed cap to 7, so she rolls 3 to 7. She can roll slow, or she can roll average. She doesn't have the highest cap that some character's speed has. Okay, so her new skill, gain 7 burn and 1 burn count at combat start. Before use, at 30 plus burn, activate the super skill instead. Deal extra damage for every burn on self to a maximum of 30. At 10 plus burn on self and burn on the target, raise the base power to 5. If this unit is missing 30% or more HP, gain coin power. Base power plus coin power, huh? 5 plus 5 plus 5, so that reaches 20. Absolute Blossom Star, Ardor Blossom Star, max attunement, degraded corrosion. After using this skill, die. If HP drops to 1 while using this skill, maintain HP at 1 for the duration of the skill. Ah, so that keeps her from actually dying from an opponent's attack should they win the clash. Although I always wonder if it works against skills that outright kill the target. Deal 7.5% more damage for every burn on self. At 10 plus burn on self and burn on the target, base power plus 1. Coin power plus 1 for every missing HP on the target. So if you have 30 burn, that does mean that it activates the kill nuke, but it doesn't mean that... Right, so she's not going to use it if she's at low... It isn't an automatic use if she's at low HP, but the fact that her passive gives her a lot of burn. At low HP, she's guaranteed to be able to use her skill 3 super version. Okay. And attack weight plus 1 for every 20% missing HP on self, to a maximum of 2. So it's not going to trigger the Sun Shower Ego gift. Anyhow, Unbreakable Coin, inflict 3 burn, deal 10% more damage for every 20% missing HP on self. Decrease after losing a clash based on clash count. That's unfortunate because it means if you get to her... I guess it's not the worst. But yeah, if she's missing a lot of HP, she deals a lot of damage on her way out. The thing is, in endurance runs, I wouldn't want my units to blow up. Okay, raise the base power, so she now rolls 11. Alternatively, she rolls 13 at maximum coin power. Raise the base power of this, so that means 15, but since she gets a coin power boost to that, it becomes 18. Honestly, it's just a personal issue, but I kind of don't like how we're getting so many skill ones that now roll 11 by default. Because I remember the Ardor Blossom Star, fight. It has that you have to roll below 10 or below if you have a Wrath skill. So they just aren't doing disadvantage skill checks anymore. Support passives unlocked. Residual heat, 3 times resonance. When one ally with the least SP inflicts a burn with the base attack skills on hit, inflict additional burn to a maximum of 3 times. If the target has 30 plus burn, inflict burn count instead. That's actually not too bad, since usually the problem is getting extra burn count.
흔적도 없이 태워버릴 뿐.
Okay, it's time for the Uptie story. A hallway within the LCE. The child who's been analysing the amassed data suddenly senses 2 sets of eyes intensely focusing on her back. This was unusual. She briefly turned around and realised that the source of the intense gazing was the new junior researcher, who joined just yesterday. What could possibly be the reason for the staring, she wondered, especially when he was already with another senior researcher. She could not imagine why, until the pair began talking. I thought all ego gear worn by the LCE looked ridiculous, but what she's wearing looks pretty clean. It almost looks workshop made. Perhaps you found the ego gears of the LCE odd, for unlike the gears of Lobotomy Corporation, various inhumane features such as tails or scales may sprout on their users. Yet hold not so much envy in your heart for her gear, for many fail to find it within themselves to don it. What? But that ego gear looks so cool! For it may go boom. Shall it be during battle or during study? One cannot say. Perhaps it may erupt even now. Wait, then... The child, unable to bear this any longer, paused and turned around. Please refrain from sharing rumors of ambiguous sources to new hires, you saying? Come on, were you trying to prank me again? I had wondered for what cause you could possibly have for bringing someone else along, but it does not seem to have been for any productive purpose. Well, he did not lie, to be precise. It is indeed true that this ego gear is prone to reactions of explosive nature. Yet, the safety trials have already been completed regarding such risks. There is no reason to fear. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever feel safe if I had to wear that. Isn't it too risky? Most subjects of study here at LCE are fraught with risks of unknown natures. One cannot hope to accomplish anything should they flee before high-risk research projects. Researchers must endeavour to be able to explain the fundamentals of their operations, and thus face what dangers may lie ahead to establish conclusions. You would do well to remember that if your aim is to accomplish anything here at LCE through research. That's true. Whatever you guys are dealing with here at the LCE, the abnormalities, the distortions, simply haven't seen or heard of anything like them anywhere else. I'll remember that. Be not so harsh on him, for it has been 2 days since his onboarding. He's saying perhaps you should adjust your attunement level with that ego. It may be that in the process of welcoming a promising junior researcher, I have allowed my mischievous to get out of hand. Yes, well, then I will excuse myself. She must have noted nothing more to say, because she whipped around and began walking away as though her business here was concluded. But the researcher stopped her in her steps. Are you bound for the Pecatula laboratory by any chance? Yes, I'm to participate in a combat capacity test. Then will you perhaps bring my junior with you for a field trip? He is yet to be assigned a task. Find a male prepared to join me for abnormality management work. Very well. It's unusual for researchers of most companies to be involved in any degree of combat. This seemed to have piqued the junior researcher's interest. Whoa, combat tests? Yes, it guarantees results, should it succeed. Repression work efficiency, abnormality or distortion containment breach suppression efficiency, not to mention the various additional data that can be procured by engaging them in combat. But the junior researcher didn't have much time to ask his questions as they arrived at the laboratory within minutes. The child walked into the laboratory alone as the junior researcher watched through the glass window. The Pecatula in there surrounded the child as though they were drawn by something. You're gonna be okay, right? No variables of any risk have been observed. Raising attunement level. Resonating. The child soared toward the ceiling, making some distance between herself and the gathering Pecatula. This must have been made possible thanks to assimilation rate, also known as attunement rate. Normally this wouldn't have been possible, even with a high attunement rate, but the LCE EGO were different. Well, wait, winged egos can fly? I thought they were just for show! Not necessarily. Most winged ego gears do not have flight capabilities. Indeed, it is true that, as long as high attunement level can be maintained, you can utilize the source abnormality's idiosyncrasies with greater flexibility compared to Lobotomy Corporation ego. Show off! By gaining a deep understanding of the abnormality and by maintaining, even for a brief moment, empathy for it, she was able to temporarily raise her attunement level by her own volition. Perhaps, in a way, it is close to the usage of actual ego, rather than the ego gears of Lobotomy Corporation. I see, so I should try my best to raise my attunement levels. Maybe so, but overinvestment is discouraged. Deeper studies and obsession may cause the wearer to be consumed by the ego. Like so. The child's moves began to grow increasingly flashy as she burns the Pecatula away one by one, spreading embers everywhere, just like the abnormality Ardor Blossom Moth. That's when a sudden crackling noise echoed throughout the laboratory. It wasn't anything special, considering that the entire chamber was practically on fire. But the junior researcher couldn't help but flinch out of fear, given what the senior researcher from earlier had told him. Are you about to blow? Were I to raise the attunement level further, yes, I would explode. But I don't intend to, of course. There's still much that must be studied. Just as that bizarre heat began to coalesce around her, the child closed her eyes as though she was emptying her thoughts, and the flames were extinguished. The burning wings, the fire that had traced the path of her weapon, all gone. Just as the experiment was over, the researcher ran up to the child, mesmerized. That was awesome! Crazy how you could so freely control your attunement to the ego just like that! Think I can be a researcher like you, Miss Faust? It isn't advisable to do so, however, though it may appear as though the attunement levels were freely controlled. Not even Faust may be freed from the effects of corrosion. It was indeed the child's natural disposition to welcome risks in pursuit of knowledge. However, this child here is more extreme than others, given she is affected by the ego. That is why this child does not wish for this junior researcher to walk the same path as she does. Always exercise utmost caution when raising attunement levels, especially when you are in the source abnormality's immediate presence. Watching the researcher nod vigorously, the child began cleaning up the test chamber, so she failed to notice the look of ominous passion in the researcher's eyes. Ego and attunement to the abnormality, failing to see the misfortune that the burning embers of his passion will one day spark. Huh. I guess that one actually leads into the Yi Sang abnormality story. The Yi Sang Uptie story. Anyway, if we want another Uptie, it doubles the coin power possibilities. So that's a +6. So she can roll a 15 on this ignition. Honestly, what I think is they should just raise the offense level of the skill ones enough that it can still be rolling a +10. It can roll a 10, but it can also gain the extra clash power and damage. Of course they're doing yard work right now. Let's wrap this up quick. Add a +4, so that means we roll a 16 by default on her skill 2. And then we gain an extra 2 coin power on top of that, so that's +6. 22. Poor Encore Faust. If target has 15 burn, inflict 2 burn count. That's actually really cool, and it's not on hit without cracking. I think this is our first identity that actually has an unbreakable coin by default. We've had unbreakable coins on the Blood Fiends, but it was tied to them being able to... It was tied to their upgraded skills. Anyway, drawn by flame, 5. Base power for every 10 burn on self and burn on the target, +2. 7. Coin power +1 for missing 30% HP. Presumably at 60% it hearts up to 2, so that's 7 plus 3, 6. I actually want to number that out, so +6, 18, +7, 20, 25 on her skill 3, and that's the non-upgraded version. 5, plus 2 base power, plus 3 coin power, plus 4 attack weight for missing HP. Oh, good gravy. Okay, so let's number this out. 7. 7. I'm sure that I've gone over these numbers in the first episode, but it's been a while. So that's a 28 max power on this attack. And it adds a type 2 evade skill. At lots of burn, gain 3 coin power, so a 17 evade is actually pretty standout. On use, lose burn, and on evade, lose burn. Unfortunately, it's just not my style to have my agents blow up. Anyway, until next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around.
항상 주위를 심도 있게 관찰하는 버릇이 생겼어요. 지금 유능함을 기준으로 보자면 LCE 수석 연구원은 파우스티어야 옳습니다. 그저 지금의 제가 있을 자리가 아닌 것뿐일 테죠.